The patient I'll be creating a testing battery for is an offensive lineman with a sore pec muscle on the right side, and he's looking to determine his readiness to participate in full pads practice and the spring game coming up in 2 weeks. The first test I'm going to have him perform is the standing wallpaper slides. This test measures my patient's ability to perform full range of motion at the shoulder joint, which in turn looks at the functionality of the pectoral muscles. I will have him perform the test bilaterally such that I can compare the injured side to the non-injured side. And to perform the test, my patient will face the wall with the palms holding 2 sheets of paper onto the wall. Following my command, I'll instruct him to draw certain letters with both arms in unison. Quantitatively, I can simply measure if my patient is able to draw the pattern they're instructed to, and I can note any complaints of pain or any visual restricted range of motion. Starting with this test is beneficial because the full range of motion should be ensured before I begin testing his power and strength outputs with weight added. Here the patient is facing the wall with his hands holding papers directly against the wall. I'll instruct him to draw letters and he will follow my command, seeing if there's any pain or restricted range of motion. The first letter is T. The second letter is Y. The third letter is C. And finally, the last letter is W. Here we can see the patient did not complain of pain and seemed to have full range of motion. The second test we'll have him perform is shoulder taps for speed. This test measures my patient's ability to perform range of motion at the shoulder under the pressure of his own body weight, thus progressing from the previous test. It's important that my patient can bear weight through this previously injured muscle as necessary for duties as an offensive lineman. To perform the test, I'll instruct my patient to assume a push-up position and perform shoulder taps in sequence, focusing on speed rather than form. So they should tap their hand to the opposite shoulder and return back to the ground before repeating the same motion on the opposite side arm. I'll set a timer for 15 seconds and see how many taps he can perform in that time. Any signs of pain or disruption in movement patterns should be noted, and signs that the patient is not ready to return to play. I will instruct my patient to assume the push-up position and start my timer for 15 seconds. Ready, go. Okay, stop. My patient completed 30 taps in 15 seconds. The third and final test I'll have him perform is the timed push-up test, and it will place the patient's pectoralis and entire shoulder stability, strength, and endurance to the test. It places the engaged muscles under the pressure of his body weight for an extended period of time, while also requiring the muscles to perform a functional range of motion that an offensive lineman would need to do in a game scenario, requiring strength, stability, and endurance. To perform this functional test, I'll instruct my patient to assume a push-up position once again, and I'll start a timer again for 15 seconds and see how many push-ups he can complete in that time frame. Here I can see both quantitatively how many he performs and qualitatively the depth and correct form on each push-up. In choosing the time for this test, I selected 15 seconds as the average play in football is around 4 to 12 seconds, so if he can perform this task for 15 seconds, he should have enough endurance necessary for singular football plays. Here I'm instructing my patient to assume the push-up position once again, and I'll start my timer for 15 seconds to see how many push-ups he can perform. Ready, set, go. And stop. I could see with that test he could complete 12 push-ups with proper form and full range of motion in the 15 seconds.